Something broke in Landman Season 2 Episode 10, and it wasn't just Tommy's career. This episode didn't shout. It didn't rush. It sat quietly and let the pain sink in. By the end, it felt less like watching a show and more like watching a man lose everything he was holding together with his bare hands. This wasn't shocking drama for attention. This was slow emotional damage. And yes, this episode made me cry. From the very first minutes of Episode 10, you can feel that something is wrong. Not loud wrong. Not explosive wrong. It's the kind of wrong that sits in the chest and makes it hard to breathe. Tommy walks through this episode like a man already grieving, even before the final blow lands. Season 2 has been piling pressure on him piece by piece, and now, in this episode, the weight finally becomes unbearable. Tommy has always been the man trying to keep things steady, not just from Tex but for his family, his people, and even the industry itself. He understands risk better than anyone because he has seen what happens when things go wrong. Fires, deaths, explosions, careers destroyed in seconds. Caution isn't weakness to him, it's survival. But Episode 10 makes it painfully clear that survival is no longer what the people in power want. The drilling project that haunted the entire season reaches its breaking point here. For everyone else, this moment feels like victory. Lawyers are smiling. Executives are celebrating. Glasses are raised. The room is full of confidence and greed, and that dangerous belief that nothing can go wrong anymore. But Tommy doesn't fit in that room. He never does. While others celebrate the future, he's haunted by what that future might cost. And that's when the cruelty of this episode truly reveals itself. Tommy is pulled aside quietly, almost politely, and he's fired. No shouting. No chaos. Just calm words that rip the ground out from under him. Cammy tells him exactly why. She doesn't want someone afraid of wildcatting. She wants risk. She wants recklessness. She wants another Monty, no matter the cost. In that moment, everything Tommy stood for becomes a liability instead of a strength. What makes this hurt so much isn't just the loss of the job. It's the timing. It's the message. The one man who acted as the company's moral brake is removed right before everything spins out of control. The episode doesn't frame this as business. It frames it as abandonment. Tommy gave years of his life to holding things together, and the reward is silence and a closed door. This firing isn't just professional. It's personal. Tommy's job is the foundation of his entire family's life. Without it, Angela's comfort is threatened. Aninsley's future becomes uncertain. Cooper's position at Mtex suddenly looks fragile. Everything that felt solid now feels temporary. And Tommy knows it. You can see it in his face. He doesn't panic. He doesn't explode. He absorbs it like he always does. And that makes it even sadder. Episode 10 takes its time here, and that's why it hurts. The show doesn't rush past Tommy's reaction. It lets us sit with it. It lets us feel how lonely this moment is. There's no immediate support. No reassurance. Just the understanding that the man who carried everyone else is now carrying this alone. And this is where the tears start forming, not because of one dramatic moment, but because of everything piling up at once. Tommy is losing control of his work, his influence, and soon his family. And the episode hasn't even reached its darkest turn yet. By the end of this section of the story, it's clear. This isn't just another setback for Tommy. This is the moment his life splits in two. Before and after. And once you feel that shift, you realize something terrifying. Landman isn't going to give him an easy way out. If Episode 10 broke Tommy slowly, it shattered Cooper in a single violent moment. This is where Landman stops being about business, power, or ambition, and becomes about fear, trauma, and what happens when a person is pushed too far. The show doesn't prepare you for it. It doesn't soften the edges. It just lets it happen, and then forces you to sit with the consequences. Ariana has spent the entire season trying to survive quietly. She works hard, keeps her head down, and endures humiliation that no one should ever have to tolerate. Johnny has been a shadow over her story for weeks. Disrespectful, threatening, protected by the kind of environment that excuses men like him until it's too late. Even after he's banned, the danger never truly leaves. Episode 10 proves that safety for Ariana was always an illusion. Behind the Patch Cafe, the situation turns horrifying. Johnny corners her. His words are cruel, racist, and dehumanizing. He strips her of dignity before he even touches her. He accuses her of being undocumented, as if her existence itself is something illegal. And when she resists, when she refuses to shrink, he attacks her. The show does not sensationalize this moment. It treats it with the gravity it deserves. It's ugly. It's terrifying. It feels real. Cooper arrives just in time, but what follows is not the kind of rescue television usually celebrates. There's no heroic music. No clean victory. What comes out of Cooper is pure, uncontrolled rage. Fear mixed with guilt. Trauma mixed with love. He doesn't just stop Johnny. He beats him. Again and again. Long after the threat is gone. Long after logic should return. This is the moment that defines Cooper forever. Because Cooper doesn't look like a savior here. He looks like someone losing himself. The episode makes a powerful choice by refusing to justify or glorify what he does. You understand why he snaps, but you're never told that it's okay. Violence doesn't feel triumphant. It feels horrifying. Necessary, maybe, but still devastating. And that's why this episode hurts so much. Cooper isn't a monster. He's a young man who has watched the world fail someone he cares about. He stepped in because no one else did. But now he's crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. The consequences come fast. There's a security camera. There's a witness. The police are called. Johnny will face charges for assault and attempted rape, but Cooper isn't walking away clean. Excessive force changes everything. In another time, this could have been buried. Money could have fixed it. Influence could have erased it. Tommy could have protected him. But Tommy no longer has power. That's the cruel symmetry of episode 10. The moment Cooper needs protection most is the exact moment Tommy loses his ability to provide it. The safety net is gone. Cammy is unpredictable. The company is unstable. The favors that once existed don't feel reliable anymore. For the first time, consequences feel real and unavoidable. Ariana's reaction matters just as much as Cooper's. She doesn't scream. She doesn't collapse. She does something smarter. She listens. She understands the danger. And when she's warned about Cooper's situation, she doesn't hesitate. She calls Rebecca immediately. This is survival instinct, learned the hard way. What makes this section emotionally overwhelming is how helpless it feels. No one wins here. Ariana is traumatized. Cooper is facing prison. Johnny, even if charged, has already caused irreversible damage. And Tommy, already drowning, now has to face the possibility that his son's life may be destroyed because he couldn't protect his family in time. By the end of this part of the episode, the tone of Landman completely shifts. This is no longer a story about oil rigs and power struggles. Everything that follows is fallout. By the time episode 10 reaches this point, Landman feels emotionally suffocating, and that's intentional. Every storyline begins to fold inward, crashing into Tommy at once. Losing his job was devastating. Cooper's situation is terrifying. But what truly breaks Tommy in this episode isn't work or legal danger. It's the realization that the life he built no longer has a safe place to land. Tommy finally does the one thing he's been avoiding all season. He tells the truth. He admits that he's been fired. There's no dramatic build-up, no speech prepared in advance. He simply says it, and the silence that follows is crushing. The episode makes a smart choice here by showing how alone this makes him. Support doesn't rush in. Comfort doesn't appear. The only person who listens without judgment is his father. And while that support matters, it also highlights how limited Tommy's emotional safety has become. Angela's reaction is immediate and painful to watch. She doesn't ask how he's feeling. She doesn't sit with the fear. She spirals. Her world depends on stability, comfort, and control. And Tommy just lost the thing that guaranteed all three. Instead of facing the crisis together, Angela pulls away. Again, this has always been her pattern. When things get heavy, she escapes. Money usually makes problems disappear. This time, money isn't enough. With Cooper facing charges and Angela emotionally checking out, Tommy does what he's always done when trapped. He tries to fix things himself. And that decision leads him straight into the most dangerous conversation of the episode. Galliano. Tommy goes to him honestly. He explains that he was fired. That Cammy has taken control. That things are unstable. For a brief moment, it feels like vulnerability might be met with understanding. But Galliano doesn't see a man in crisis. He sees an investment at risk. What follows is chilling. Galliano makes it clear that Tommy doesn't get to walk away. Not now. Not after everything. Too much money is involved. Too many plans are in motion. Tommy's foresight, the very caution that got him fired, is the reason Galliano invested in the first place. And now that foresight has become a leash. The threat isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It's calm. Calculated. Galliano tells Tommy that if the money isn't protected, something precious will be taken from him. Something he loves. The meaning is obvious. His family. Starting with Angela. This is the moment where episode 10 becomes unbearable. Tommy is no longer just failing. He's trapped. He can't leave Tex. He can't protect Cooper the way he used to. He can't rely on Angela. And now, walking away could put his family in real danger. The power dynamic is brutal. Tommy has the knowledge, the experience, the instincts, but none of the control. Everyone above him wants risk. Everyone below him is vulnerable. And he's stuck in the middle, trying to prevent disaster with empty hands. And then comes the quietest betrayal of all. Angela makes her choice. Instead of standing beside Tommy, instead of facing the chaos together, she chooses distance. She stays with Inslee. She chooses comfort over conflict, stability over loyalty. In her mind, it's self-preservation. In Tommy's, it feels like abandonment. The episode doesn't villainize Angela, but it doesn't excuse her either. This isn't a dramatic breakup. It's worse. It's emotional absence. She doesn't scream. She doesn't accuse. She simply leaves Tommy alone with everything collapsing around him. That's what finally breaks him. Not Galliano's threat. Not Cammie's decision. Not even Cooper's legal danger. It's the understanding that the one person he would endure anything for has chosen to walk away when he needs her most. Episode 10 lets this realization sit. There's no background music to soften it. No quick cut to relief. Just a man standing in the ruins of his own life, realizing that love, when tested, doesn't always survive. And with that, the episode prepares us for one final truth. Whatever happens next, Tommy won't come out of this the same person. By the time Landman Season 2 Episode 10 reaches its final moments, the damage is already done. There's no explosion. No dramatic cliffhanger built on spectacle. Instead, the episode leaves us sitting in emotional wreckage. And that's exactly why it hurts. This isn't a finale built to excite, it's built to haunt. What makes this episode so powerful is how deeply personal the losses feel. Tommy doesn't lose one thing. He loses everything that gave his life structure. His job, his authority, his sense of purpose, and most painfully, the emotional safety of his marriage. The show understands something crucial here. A man doesn't collapse all at once. He fractures slowly, quietly, while still showing up for everyone else. Tommy spends this entire episode trying to stay calm. He speaks carefully. He thinks before acting. Even when threatened, even when abandoned, he doesn't lash out. And that restraint is exactly what makes his pain so heavy. He's not allowed to fall apart. He has too many people depending on him. But by the end of the episode, it's clear that carrying everyone else has finally emptied him. Cooper's future hangs in the balance, and that uncertainty is devastating. The episode refuses to tell us whether he'll be punished, protected, or destroyed by the system. And that's realistic. Life doesn't resolve trauma neatly. Ariana did everything right, and she's still left with scars. Cooper did what he believed was necessary, and now he may pay for it forever. Justice here feels complicated and cruel. Angela's choice lingers longer than any argument could have. Her absence speaks louder than anger. She loves Tommy, but love in this world isn't always enough to survive fear. That truth is brutal. It's also painfully human. The episode doesn't ask us to hate her. It asks us to understand how people fail each other when stability disappears. Galliano's threat reframes everything we've seen this season. The danger isn't just accidents or lawsuits. It's power, money, control. Tommy is no longer managing risk. He is the risk. And that realization changes how we see his future. He can't simply walk away. He can't fix this cleanly. Whatever choice he makes next will cost him something. And that's why this episode made so many of us cry. Not because it was loud, not because it was shocking, but because it was honest. It showed how quickly life can unravel when control slips away. How love can fracture under pressure. How doing the right thing doesn't guarantee protection. Landman Season 2 Episode 10 trusts its audience enough to sit in discomfort. It doesn't offer easy answers. It doesn't soften the blow. It lets the pain exist, and that takes confidence. As we move toward what comes next, one thing is certain. There are no clean wins left. Every path forward is dangerous. And Tommy, no matter how strong he is, can't carry this alone anymore. That's why this episode matters. That's why it hurts. And that's why Landman has never felt more real.